Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, students. Today, I want to give you a quick little review. This is in addition to your peer flip grids that you have access to this evening in preparation for the test. In addition, you'll have this video to review, and you also have the quiz that you get to take 10 times to study for the test as well. Now, remember, I have always said, your test grade correlates with how much you study. Okay. And I look at that. So when you don't do well on your test, I look and see how much you did study. So again, those two things affect each other. So let me go ahead and review with you the test. Hopefully you see this. I'm going to send it out both through email, and I'm going to post it in Schoology, and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. So hopefully you guys get this. The first thing I want to talk to you about are what are the physical characteristics of the Middle East and Northern Africa. Physical characteristics, not culture, not economical, but physical characteristics. You have to make sure you pay attention to those little words in there and make sure that you're answering the question correctly. Physical characteristics of the Middle East: dry, hot, desert-like, hot climates, little bit of water, maybe really cold up high in the mountains, rocky, not fertile land. Those are all characteristics of what that land is. Which unrest in Syria. Okay, so what is the deal with the unrest in Syria? Well, civil unrest or even unrest means that people are angry, they're upset, they're fleeing. You wouldn't stay in your home if the government was coming into your house and telling you what to do, or there was fighting out in the streets. Now, we watch those 1 second a day videos of that little girl who lived in Syria, and she had to flee the area as a refugee, and she actually ended up in France 2 years later. So what is happening in Syria is causing people, refugees, to flee the region and seek a better life or better place to live. So what does Islamic rule mean to women? Well, Islamic rule has a lot of rules for women, and it's based on the Quran, and it's based in a book, okay? Just like Christians use the Bible and Jewish use the Torah, you have the Quran that is supports this Islamic rule and any type of rules for women. Well, a lot of times these rules for women, to us, specifically to us in America, are injustices to women. And things like they can't drive a car, but they can't own a business. A lot of times they're not schooled, or their schooling stops at a certain age. They have to be escorted or be with a male. They have to be covered up. You're not going to see them at the beaches in a bikini like you do here in Texas or Florida, right? So they are definitely rules that they have to live by. Well, when you have rules that the government and everybody has said, this is what you have to do, and it's based on this book, that is a theocracy. Theocracy is the rule of religion, okay? Religious leaders, along with some sort of supporting documentation, support the rules for that country. Opposite of us here in the United States, where we have a constitution that supports the rules for the citizens. Not a Bible, but a constitution. And that's why we're a democracy here. The Persian Gulf. Why is it important to the United States? Well, guess what? It's oil, and we need oil, and we buy oil, and we make a lot of oil, but we still have to buy oil from other places. And the Persian Gulf is a major waterway in which ships go up and down, back and forth. I don't know if they're drilling as much oil out in that waterway because it's such high vessel traffic, but Saudi Arabia, which is one of the number one oil producers, most of its whole East Coast is up against the Persian Gulf. So we need access to that. The Persian Gulf needs to be a safe place that ships can come out and come around and get over to the United States if we need that oil. Okay, so it's very important that we support anything that has to do with the Persian Gulf. OPEC, Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries. The United States is not a member of those, but what OPEC does is it controls the price and how much oil is going into the market. We don't depend on OPEC as much, but we use OPEC to justify our prices and the market price, okay? And these are the 9 countries that are part of OPEC, and most of them are in the Middle East. And they kind of work together to try and maintain these oil prices and keep everything steady so we don't have a big collapse or a financial or crisis over oil. Okay, so OPEC is about these countries. And on my board, I have oil, money, and supply. That's what they control. What type of government is theocracy? Remember, theocracy is where the government controls everything. So is that limited or unlimited? Well, democracy is a limited government because the government can't do whatever they want to. But theocracy is unlimited. Stop government. Stop government. It's opposite of that. It's like, come on in. Come on in, government. Tell us whatever you want us to do. That's not us, but that is many of the countries over in the Middle Eastern region. Okay, they are ruled by theocracy, which is a unlimited government. Okay, if oil dried up, if oil was hard to come by, if a massive natural disaster hit that region and all the oil wells were crushed and torn off their platform, what would people do? What would all the people that work in the oil industry do? Well, they'd have to find other jobs. They'd have to invest their time and their money into other areas to grow those industries. It hasn't really happened, but it could one day. What if oil dries up, especially in that region, and everyone's dependent on it? Okay, so they have to find jobs in tourism, banking, medical, and some sort of industrial invention, maybe car manufacturing, any of those things other than oil. Okay, so you remember when oil is their primary source of income, if something happens to that one, they have to find all these other sources of income. Okay, and they have to figure that out. What are the 3 main religions? Remember, it's Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Jewish, Christian, Muslim. Okay, those are the 3 religions that should be memorized. Okay, again, OPEC is oil producing, exporting countries, and they set policies on trade and limits and money and how much they can charge for oil and so forth. Suez Canal. Suez Canal is a geographic feature that separates basically the Middle East from North Africa. And the Suez Canal was dug out a little over 100 years ago. And it was dug out so ships could get from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. So instead of going all the way around Africa, these ships could kind of come out from Asia and go up through the Red Sea, go through the Suez Canal, and into the Mediterranean Sea and hit all these European countries. If you don't remember where the Suez Canal is, or that the importance is shipping, transporting goods and services, and what would happen if we didn't have it, it'd be a lot longer of a trip, then you need to look at those videos that I've offered you on the Suez Canal. Again, let's remind you about the injustices for women and things that women don't get to do when they're under Islamic rule. Okay, you can go back and listen to that earlier section because I'm running out of time. How does the climate in the Middle East affect agriculture? Well, guess what? You don't have a lot of water, right? So they have to pull water off the Nile. They have to pull water out of seas, which are suffering from erosion and all sorts of other things because they're drying up. But through the use of irrigation, which remember what irrigation is, the movement of water, kind of like a sprinkler system. Through irrigation, you can get water from one place to another place. Now, it's not going to go far away, but it does allow for plants and agriculture to grow in some of those certain areas. Again, I'm just about to run out of time. And really, there is not much more I need to talk about. So here's the deal. It would behoove you to watch this a few times. I'm trying to be super helpful, okay? Take the quiz a few times. I made it. It's great. Okay, so study for this test, get a good grade, so we don't have to have a little conversation about why you didn't. Bring your headphones. I don't have any in the classroom. You got to bring your headphones if you want to listen to the test. Okay, study. I'll see you tomorrow.